All right, guys, I'm here at Little Sugar, and we are gonna be taking on the trails with that bad boy. That is a e-bike rented from Fat Tire Bike Shop. I wanna see how many trails I can actually hit, and how much fun is it gonna be on an e-bike on a big system like this. Probably 25, 30 miles. Let's go for a ride. All right, guys, so this is taking off from the golf course, up on the hill, heading out for Little Sugar. I am going counterclockwise, so I'm pretty much heading north on tunnel vision. So really, this is the first time that I'm doing a full ride on an e-bike. Like I said, got this bike from Fat Tire Bike Shop. But here's the other call out about Little Sugar, is you see a ton of posts from people going to Bentonville, and they're like, oh my God, it rained, what can I ride? Little Sugar is one of the sections in which you can ride after it rains. This is a situation you can see where there's a little bit of moisture in the bottom of some of those humps back there. It rained the night before, so I literally wanted to rent the e-bike, and I went out and rode right after it rained. This is about 11 o'clock after a night of raining, and you can see it's perfectly fine. Super rocky, it soaks it up, so if you're looking for a place to ride after it rains,
see, this beast can jump.
This is where you need to go. So, Little Sugar has got a couple of different areas with a couple of jumps on it. This is one of them.
Not bad.
Not too big. Wasn't sure how the e-bike would handle the jumps, but this is a pretty legit e-bike, so super fun to head out. So, as you can see, the best part about an e-bike is you flow down the hills, and you also flow up the hills. The guys at Fat Tire Bike Shop said, hey, you can keep it on the e-mountain bike mode and you should be fine. I ended up doing about 25 miles on this particular loop, and I will tell you that there's a certain part where I had to turn it down to almost eco rather, because I was going to run out of juice, and I'll talk about even where I ended up running out of juice on this ride. So one call out about doing this particular loop, so I actually had to turn off of tunnel vision and hit Lago Vista because they're doing some construction and a certain part of tunnel vision was closed. So shooting up, like I said, counterclockwise on tunnel vision, turn left on Lago Vista, and then when I got to the part where it's uphill both ways, I shot north so I could do Bamboozled. So this is the spot where it's got just a ton of like back and forth switchback climbing. Obviously easy on the e-bike. So this is what I'd say about Little Sugar. So I did the back 40 a couple of years ago, because typically when I go, well, let me first talk about this. So this is Bamboozled. This is going to be a spot where they've got some really good jump runs with what you can do, but you can loop it too. It's got a small little return trail with what you can do. Honestly, I didn't want to do a lot of these jumps on this bike because I wasn't fully comfortable with it, but this could be a nice little session area if you would want. And there's a parking lot right at the bottom of this to where, like I said, you could just session this very easily. Pretty fun. I will tell you it's a little rocky though, so it's not like what you'd see at Kohler where it's nicely built jumps, super smooth. You're gonna have to deal with some serious rocks and a little bit of more not as much groomed trails, but still super fun. So you'll go down this, you'll hit the bottom, and you'll see a return trail where you turn left for the return trail, turn right to keep going on this particular system. So right here, like I said, turn left for the return trail, turn right.
I guess I go this way.
And there is a parking lot. And then what you do is you can keep heading north, and there's another little jump run. I don't know what it's called. I'm sure there's a name for it that I don't know about. But turn left right here, and this is another little session area where you can hit some jumps. These were a lot more better built, I would say. But once again, I didn't want to do them on the e-bike, not being as comfortable with the bike.
These are doable. It's so rocky though.
Look at this section right here though. On the left, you go up, and I tell you, if you've got some wide handlebars, you better pray that you can make it through that, because it looks a little sketch. So continuing north, what I was saying was, so I've done the back 40. The back 40 is another section where you can go and ride when it's a little bit wet at the All-American Trail or anywhere else in Slaughter Pen. Little Sugar, it's got a lot more flow on it than back 40 from what I remember. I feel like also you climb a lot more on Little Sugar just because it's a lot more ups and a lot more downs. Obviously what I'm showing you, this was, like I said, I did about 25 miles, ended up being a little over 2 hours because I was on the e-bike. But you know, here's a great example of where I'm actually flowing up the hill. So with the e-bike, it made you, or allowed you rather, to cover a lot more trails in a lot less time. But Little Sugar, more fun, more flow, a little bit more jumps from what I remember about the back 40. I do remember the back 40 though having a little bit more scenery. You know, you can see a lot of the rock and bluff as you're riding underneath of it. But this particular trail has some good scenery at the very end, which we'll talk about when we get there. So this is where we're going to be towards pretty much the north part, where it actually gets a little bit flat. We are close, I believe, to the Missouri border right here. There's a little Black Diamond trail that I actually started doing, but then I turned around because this is the point where I started questioning with whether I'm going to have enough juice in the e-bike to make the entire 25-30 mile loop. So I had backed it down from e-mountain bike down to what I believe the next mode down is touring, and it still carried me pretty good. But even there's a certain point where I even backed it down from touring to eco because I realized there is no way I was going to make it back without juice. And honestly, I've done this type of ride, you know, on a regular mountain bike. You know, I've got an acoustic bike with what I ride. I ride a high tower, as you guys probably know. But there's a big difference between riding, you know, a regular bike and riding an e-bike with no juice, because those things are stinking heavy. So I did not want to run out. So now we're working our way back south on Tunnel Vision. A couple of real just fun, flowy sections. You can really get some good momentum, and that's the best part about an e-bike. You know, I used to ride dirt bikes, and it kind of reminds me of riding trails on a dirt bike because you just constantly have momentum, whether you're going up or down. Nice little water crossing right there with the rocks. So if you're looking at a map, watching where I'm riding, this is going to be the west part of Tunnel Vision, working my way back south towards the parking. So I did not go through and not ride through the Huntley Gravity Zone. I'll probably have another video where I was actually there with the family. That was the day where actually I rode my regular bike with the family on e-bikes. We hit up the Huntley Gravity Zone, which is freaking amazing. So if you love jump runs, check out my other video as I get that posted probably later in a couple weeks. You know, it's funny with the e-bike, I even got to the certain point where I was starting to get a little concerned. I was turning off the e-bike when I was going downhill because obviously I could flow. Turning off the e-bike so I could flow down it and save as much battery as I could. if I remember, this is probably one of the faster sections for sure. Parking lot right there at the bottom. Also on this trail, there's a little green loop called Tweety Bird. So if you've got a little guy, little girl who wants to check out mountain biking, it's a nice green small loop for striders, for young beginners. I don't think I have video in it in this particular video, but yeah, listen to the e-bike. This is a point where it is just struggling to get up these hills. As much as I was probably too, just praying to God that I was going to make it back. But yeah, check out Tweety Bird. You know, it's a great little beginner loop. You can drive there and park there. You don't have to ride through the entire system, obviously, with the beginner to get there. But this is towards the end of tunnel vision where we're working our way back. If you can picture, we're going down the hill. It's going to get to the golf course where you can see on that main road in Bella Vista. This also had some pretty fun flow as well. I was actually very thankful that it was more downhill than uphill towards the end like this, because once again at this point I think the bike was pretty much dead. I do also want to, next time I'm down there, I want to hit up Down Under. I've also heard that little loop is a pretty fun section as well. So did not do it this particular trip. I pretty much stayed on tunnel vision, and then shooting over on Lago Vista because of the closure on tunnel vision with the construction. Also Landline I've also heard is pretty good as well. This section of the trail also had more of the rock sections like this than any other section in the trail that I rode that particular day. So here is the last part of the trail, the more scenic part, to where you can see the bluffs on the left, you've got the water and the river on the right, you can also see the golf course on the right, and then just past the right of the golf course is the main road. It's 71 taking you north up to Missouri. So this is the part where the bike is completely dead, but just a phenomenal ride. You guys, I would tell you that, would I do this again? I probably would. Great time. I also did it once again on my regular bike, but getting the e-bike helps you experience it. So thanks for riding along with Little Sugar. Great system. Had a lot of fun. Definitely recommend stopping by Fat Tire Bike Shop and getting an e-bike. And I appreciate you guys riding along. Thanks for stopping by. Peace out, suckers.